Amina woke up early, her heart beating with a mixture of excitement and worry. Today was her graduation day, the day she had dreamed about for years, but her smile faltered when she looked at her worn-out shoes by the door. They had served her well, carrying her through countless long walks to college, part-time jobs, and errands for her family, but they were far from suitable for such an important day. Her dress was simple, modest, and stitched carefully by her mother, but without the right shoes it felt incomplete. She went to the kitchen where her younger siblings were eating breakfast. Her mother, tired yet smiling, handed Amina a cup of tea. "You're going to shine today, Amina," her mother said softly, trying to boost her confidence. Amina nodded, sipping the tea, but the worry lingered. She wanted to look presentable, not just for herself but for the pride of her family who had sacrificed so much for her education. Her father had passed away when she was young, and her mother had worked tirelessly to keep the family afloat, taking cleaning jobs, tutoring, and whatever came her way. Amina took a deep breath and decided she could not let the day pass without at least trying to solve her shoe problem. She glanced around the campus in her mind, remembering the people who seemed to have everything: stylish clothes, expensive bags, and perfect shoes. It made her stomach twist, feeling the gap between her world and theirs. Still, she was determined. She would find a way, somehow. She walked to college, the campus buzzing with energy and laughter. Students in bright dresses and shiny shoes walked in groups, chatting about their plans after the ceremony. Amina smiled at them, trying to hide her nervousness. Each step made her think about the countless days she had spent studying, working, and juggling responsibilities. She had earned this moment, even if she didn't have the perfect attire to show for it. As she reached the main building, she noticed a young man sitting on a bench under a tree. He was dressed neatly, wearing polished shoes that gleamed in the morning sun. There was something about his calm presence that made him stand out from the crowd. Amina watched him for a moment, unsure why her eyes kept returning to him. Maybe it was the quiet confidence he carried or the kindness that seemed to radiate from his smile. She shook her head, trying to focus on her own worries. The thought of asking him for help crossed her mind. She felt embarrassed just thinking about it, but the shoes were essential. She approached him hesitantly, her fingers fidgeting nervously. "Excuse me," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "Can I, borrow your shoes for my graduation?" She looked down immediately, ashamed for even asking such a thing. The young man blinked in surprise, then smiled warmly. "Borrow my shoes?" He repeated, his tone gentle. "Are you serious?" Amina nodded, feeling a flush creep up her cheeks. She explained her situation, her words simple and honest. She told him about her family, her struggles, and how she didn't have shoes suitable for the ceremony. Her honesty and humility struck a chord with him. He chuckled softly, shaking his head. "You don't need to be embarrassed," he said. "I understand. Let's see if we can make this work." He helped her find a pair that fit, and as she slipped them on, she couldn't believe how perfect they felt. They were a little large, but she could walk in them comfortably. A surge of gratitude washed over her, and she smiled, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. With the shoes on, Amina felt a new sense of confidence. She walked into the graduation hall, her steps light and proud. The ceremony was in full swing, and students were taking photos, laughing and celebrating. She blended into the crowd, but the borrowed shoes gave her a quiet elegance that she hadn't felt before. She smiled at the faces around her, thinking about her family and how proud they would be. During the ceremony, she caught glimpses of the young man who had helped her. He sat quietly in the corner, watching her with a gentle smile. There was no showiness, no arrogance, just a genuine kindness that made her heart feel lighter. She realized that some people had the ability to touch lives without expecting anything in return. Today, she was one of those lives. After the ceremony, Amina and the young man walked through the campus together, talking about ordinary things, favorite books, childhood memories, and dreams for the future. There was laughter, a few awkward moments, and an unspoken understanding growing between them. Amina felt seen, not for her status or appearance, but for who she truly was. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the campus, Amina reflected on the day. It wasn't just about graduation. It was about hope, resilience, and the unexpected kindness of strangers. She knew her journey was far from over, but today had shown her that even in the hardest times there were moments of beauty and connection that made life worthwhile. She looked down at the borrowed shoes and smiled, realizing that sometimes help came from the most unexpected places. The next morning, Amina could hardly sleep. Her mind kept returning to the young man who had lent her the shoes. She wondered who he was, why he had been so kind, and whether she would ever see him again. Breakfast was quiet. Her mother noticed her distracted mood and asked gently if everything was all right. Amina smiled, saying she was fine, but inside she felt a mix of curiosity and excitement she couldn't explain. After a quick breakfast, she decided to visit the campus one more time. There were a few leftover events after graduation: photo sessions, casual conversations, and farewells. She wandered the familiar paths, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. The campus was alive with energy, students chatting and taking pictures with their families. Amina's steps were light, carrying a quiet hope. Then she saw him again, sitting alone on the same bench under the tree. He looked up, noticing her approach, and gave a small friendly wave. Her heart skipped a beat and she walked over, her shoes clicking softly on the pavement. She greeted him and he smiled warmly, his eyes reflecting genuine interest. They began talking, starting with small talk. Amina told him about the rest of her graduation day, the ceremony, the photos, and how her family had reacted to seeing her in the borrowed shoes. He listened attentively, occasionally nodding and chuckling at her funny moments. There was no judgment, no condescension, only sincere interest. It made her feel comfortable, like talking to a longtime friend. He asked her about her studies, her plans for the future, and the challenges she had faced. Amina spoke openly about her part-time jobs, the struggles of supporting her family, and her dreams of making a difference in the world. She didn't hold back, not realizing that by sharing her life so candidly, she was forming a deeper connection with someone who genuinely cared. As they walked around the campus, she noticed how he treated everyone with respect, students, staff, even the cleaning crew. He greeted them with warmth and genuine attention, a small act that spoke volumes about his character. Amina felt a mix of admiration and comfort. Here was someone who could have been distant or proud, yet he was approachable and kind. They stopped by the campus garden, where flowers bloomed in vibrant colors. Amina mentioned her love for flowers, how they reminded her of hope and growth. He listened and shared his own memories of growing up near gardens, of his mother teaching him to care for plants. It was a simple conversation, yet it felt meaningful. They laughed at small things, shared stories from their childhoods, and discovered that despite their different backgrounds, they shared many common feelings and dreams. At one point, Amina admitted her fear of the future. She worried about finding a stable job, supporting her family, and stepping into a world that seemed so full of obstacles. He didn't offer empty reassurances. Instead, he spoke about resilience, about how challenges shape people and how even small efforts could lead to unexpected opportunities. His words were honest, grounded, and comforting. Amina felt a sense of calm wash over her, a feeling that she could face her fears without being alone. As the day went on, they found a quiet spot under a large oak tree. Amina took a deep breath and spoke about the shoes again, jokingly saying how they had carried her through one of the most important days of her life. He laughed, shaking his head. "It's not the shoes," he said softly. "It's you. You walked into that ceremony with confidence and grace. The shoes just happened to be there." Amina felt warmth spread through her chest. His words were simple but sincere, and they made her feel seen in a way she hadn't experienced before. The conversation turned to dreams and hopes. Amina shared her ambitions: to complete her education, find a job that allowed her to support her family, and make a positive difference in the world. He encouraged her to think big, not just about survival but about fulfillment and happiness. He spoke about taking risks, believing in oneself, and the importance of kindness and integrity. Each word left a lasting impression on Amina, inspiring her without overwhelming her. As the afternoon sun began to set, the campus started to empty. Amina realized how much time had passed and how natural the conversation had felt. She felt a connection she couldn't explain, a bond formed through honesty, shared stories, and mutual respect. She realized that the young man's kindness had gone beyond just lending shoes. It had given her a sense of validation and hope. Before leaving, they walked back towards the main gate. Amina thanked him again, her voice full of genuine gratitude. He waved it off, saying that he had enjoyed their conversation and that she had made his day brighter as well. There was no awkwardness, no sense of obligation, only a shared appreciation for the simple human connection they had discovered. As Amina walked home, she reflected on the day. She thought about her family, her struggles, and the unexpected encounter that had brought so much warmth into her life. She realized that sometimes small acts of kindness could create ripples far beyond what anyone expected. She also felt a new sense of determination, not just to survive but to thrive, to carry forward the lessons of generosity and understanding she had witnessed. Her siblings greeted her at home, curious about her day. She shared some stories, careful not to overemphasize her encounter but letting the warmth and joy she felt shine through. Her mother noticed the change in her demeanor, the confidence, the quiet happiness, and smiled, knowing that her daughter had grown in ways that went beyond academic achievement. That evening, as Amina prepared for bed, she thought about the young man again. She didn't know much about him, not his family, his background, or his wealth. She only knew the kindness he had shown and the genuine interest he had taken in her life. It was enough. She drifted off to sleep with a light heart, feeling a sense of hope and anticipation for the days to come. Over the next few days, Amina continued her routine, studying, helping her family, and working part-time, but there was a new lightness in her steps. She found herself looking forward to small joys, noticing moments of beauty in everyday life and feeling grateful for the unexpected connection she had made. The borrowed shoes had been the start of something larger, a reminder that the world still held kindness and unexpected opportunities for those who dared to reach out. She returned to the campus occasionally, not to seek him out but to feel the energy of the place, to remember the conversation and the lessons she had learned. Each visit reinforced the idea that life was full of surprises, and that sometimes the people who seemed ordinary at first glance could change everything in quiet, meaningful ways. Amina's confidence began to grow in small ways. Her interactions with professors, her ability to speak up in discussions, and her willingness to dream bigger. She carried herself with a quiet dignity, knowing that she had earned her place and that the kindness she had received was a gift, not a favor. She wanted to pay it forward, to help others whenever she could, just as the young man had helped her without hesitation. One afternoon, while she was helping a fellow student who was struggling with homework, she realized how much she had changed. She offered encouragement, patience, and understanding, remembering the support she had received herself. It was a small act, but it felt significant, like a ripple in the water extending outward from the kindness she had experienced. Amina knew that the young man would probably move on with his life, just as she would with hers, but the impact of their encounter remained. It wasn't about romance, wealth, or status. It was about human connection, empathy, and the power of genuine kindness. She carried that lesson with her in every step she took, letting it guide her choices, her interactions, and her dreams. As the week ended, Amina felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had survived challenges, embraced opportunities, and discovered that even small gestures could leave a lasting mark. The borrowed shoes had been a symbol, a catalyst for change, and a reminder that life often surprises us in the most unexpected ways. She smiled to herself, ready to face the future with courage, hope, and an open heart, knowing that some of the most meaningful connections come when we least expect them. Graduation day had come and gone, leaving Amina with memories she would cherish forever. Yet the feeling of excitement still lingered, especially with the borrowed shoes she now fondly referred to as her lucky shoes. They had given her confidence on the most important day of her life, and she felt a quiet pride whenever she looked at them. She had always thought that her simple life and her modest means would limit her, but those shoes had reminded her that kindness and courage could make all the difference. After the ceremony, Amina wandered through the campus, soaking in the atmosphere. Students were taking photos, laughing with their friends and family, and savoring their accomplishments. She smiled, feeling a mix of happiness and relief. Despite the challenges she had faced, she had made it to this moment. She was proud, not just for graduating but for surviving the years of hardship, for keeping her dreams alive despite the obstacles. She spotted the young man who had lent her the shoes, sitting quietly on a bench near the fountain. His presence was calm and reassuring, a steady contrast to the bustling crowd. She hesitated for a moment, unsure if she should approach him, but her curiosity and gratitude won over. She walked up to him, feeling her heart beat faster than usual. He looked up and smiled as she approached. "You look happy," he said softly, noticing the light in her eyes. Amina returned his smile, feeling a warmth in her chest. I am, she replied. Thanks to you, really. You didn't just lend me shoes, you gave me confidence. You made me feel like I belonged here. He shook his head, waving off her gratitude with humility. I just did a small thing. You carried yourself with grace and courage. That's what mattered. His words were sincere, making Amina feel truly seen for the first time in a long while. They began walking together, weaving through the groups of students and families. Amina told him about the photos she had taken, the celebrations with her friends and her mother's pride. He listened with genuine interest, occasionally asking questions that showed he remembered details from their previous conversation. The way he paid attention made Amina feel important, valued, and respected. As they walked, Amina noticed that the shoes, which had once been a source of anxiety, had become a symbol of her perseverance. Each step reminded her of the struggles she had overcome, the long walks to college, the exhausting shifts at part-time jobs, the nights spent studying while worrying about her family's future. The shoes had carried her through all of that, and now they carried her into a new chapter of her life. They found a quiet spot near the garden, where the sunlight filtered through the trees, creating a serene atmosphere. Amina spoke about her dreams for the future, continuing her education, finding a job that would support her family, and maybe one day helping others who were in situations like hers. He listened attentively, nodding and offering gentle encouragement. You have the determination and the heart to make all of that happen, he said. Never doubt yourself even when the path seems hard. His words were not just comforting, they were motivating, filling Amina with renewed hope and determination. The conversation flowed naturally from dreams to memories. Amina shared stories of her childhood, her father's wisdom, her mother's sacrifices, and the challenges of growing up with limited resources. He, in turn, shared his own experiences, though she learned less about his wealth and more about the values he had grown up with: kindness, empathy, and the importance of treating others with respect. The focus was not on money or status, but on character and integrity. They laughed over small things: childhood mishaps, funny professors, awkward moments during exams. The laughter was easy, genuine, and unforced, creating a bond that felt natural and unhurried. Amina felt a sense of relief in being able to be herself, without pretending or worrying about judgment. She realized that it had been a long time since she had felt this comfortable with someone she barely knew. At one point, they sat on a low stone wall watching the sun dip lower in the sky. Amina admitted that she had always worried about the future, about being able to support her family and find her own place in the world. He didn't offer empty promises. Instead, he spoke about resilience, the importance of small steps, and how challenges could be opportunities in disguise. Life has a way of testing us, he said softly. But the people who keep going, who keep believing in themselves, are the ones who find the unexpected doors opening. His words resonated deeply with her, and she felt a quiet resolve settle within her. They spent hours talking, walking, and reflecting. Amina began to notice how thoughtful he was in his actions, not in grand gestures, but in small, meaningful ways. He helped a janitor carry a box, greeted a security guard warmly, and paused to ask a stray cat if it wanted some food. These simple acts of kindness made Amina realize that his character was genuine, that his wealth or status didn't define him, but his actions and values did. As the evening approached, the campus began to empty, leaving a peaceful silence. Amina felt a twinge of sadness, knowing that their time together was coming to an end for the day. She thanked him again for everything, feeling a depth of gratitude that went beyond words. He smiled, reassuring her that their meeting had been meaningful for him as well, and that seeing her shine had been rewarding. Walking home, Amina reflected on the day. She thought about her family, her journey, and the unexpected kindness that had entered her life. The borrowed shoes had been more than just footwear. They had been a bridge to a moment of connection, a reminder that small gestures could have profound impacts. She felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination, knowing that her path forward was hers to shape, strengthened by the encouragement and kindness she had experienced. Over the next few days, Amina noticed subtle changes in herself. She walked with more confidence, spoke more openly with her professors, and felt a quiet pride in her achievements. The young man's words echoed in her mind. reminding her to believe in herself and to carry forward the kindness she had been shown. She began helping others in small ways, offering support and encouragement where she could, feeling the ripple effect of the goodness she had experienced. Amina also continued to think about him, not with longing or expectation, but with appreciation for the impact he had made on her life. She realized that connections did not always need to be grand or permanent to be meaningful. Sometimes the most profound moments came from simple acts of generosity, understanding, and shared humanity. One afternoon, while helping a classmate with notes from a missed lecture, Amina reflected on the journey that had led her here. She remembered the long nights, the sacrifices, the perseverance, and the small joys that had carried her through. She looked down at the shoes she had returned after graduation, now slightly worn but full of memories. They symbolized not just a day of celebration, but a journey of resilience, hope, and the kindness of strangers. Amina realized that her life was still full of challenges, but she now had a stronger sense of confidence and hope. She had seen how one person's kindness could make a world of difference, and she vowed to carry that forward. Her story was no longer just about survival. It was about embracing opportunities, building connections, and finding joy in small victories. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over her small room, Amina felt a deep sense of peace. She thought about her family, the young man, and the journey ahead. There were still obstacles, uncertainties, and struggles to face, but she felt ready. She had experienced the beauty of human kindness and the power of resilience. With that knowledge, she felt prepared to step into the future with courage, hope, and an open heart, knowing that even the smallest gestures could leave a lasting impact. A few days after graduation, Amina was sitting in her favorite quiet corner of the campus library, reviewing her notes and planning for the future. The atmosphere was calm, filled with the faint smell of old books and the soft rustling of pages. She had been reflecting a lot lately, thinking about the recent encounters that had brought unexpected warmth into her life. Her thoughts often drifted to the young man who had lent her the shoes, the person who had shown her kindness without asking for anything in return. She didn't know much about him. He seemed approachable, humble, and genuinely interested in her as a person. Yet there had always been an air of mystery about him. She hadn't asked about his family or background, not wanting to pry. For Amina, what mattered most was his kindness, the way he had treated her with respect and consideration. That afternoon, she decided to visit a cafe near campus, a place where students often gathered to relax after classes. As she entered, she saw him sitting at a corner table, casually dressed with a stack of papers and a laptop in front of him. He looked up, his face lighting up with a familiar smile when he saw her. Amina felt a flutter of anticipation as she approached, grateful for the opportunity to spend more time with him. They exchanged greetings and sat down together. The conversation started casually, as it always did. They talked about the graduation celebrations, the memories from college, and the little challenges they had faced along the way. But today there was a new element in the air, a sense that something unspoken might soon be revealed. After a few minutes, he leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. Amina noticed a change in his demeanor, a seriousness that contrasted with his usual calm. "Amina," he began softly, "there's something I think you should know about me." She looked at him, curious and slightly apprehensive. He hesitated, then continued, "I come from a family that is, well, we are fortunate in ways most people aren't. My father runs a large company, and I've had opportunities that many people dream of. I didn't tell you before because it didn't seem important, and I wanted you to see me for who I am, not for my family or money." Amina felt a wave of surprise and confusion. She hadn't expected this revelation, yet she didn't feel upset or disappointed. Instead, she was intrigued by his honesty and humility. "I'm glad you told me," she said carefully, choosing her words. "But I hope you know I never cared about that. The kindness you showed me, that mattered more than anything else." She smiled, her eyes reflecting a mixture of admiration and relief. He nodded, a small smile returning to his face. "I'm glad to hear that," he said. "I wanted to help you because I saw your courage, your determination, and your spirit. I wanted to make a small difference, not because of my background, but because it felt right." His sincerity was clear, and Amina felt her respect for him deepen. They spent the next hour talking about life, dreams, and responsibilities. He shared stories from his childhood, about learning the value of hard work and integrity from his parents. He emphasized that wealth or privilege was not what defined him, but the choices he made and the way he treated others. Amina listened intently, feeling a growing sense of connection and understanding. As the conversation continued, Amina shared more about her own struggles, the long hours she had spent working, the sacrifices her family had made, and the fear of stepping into a world that seemed full of uncertainty. He listened without judgment, occasionally offering advice grounded in empathy and practical wisdom. "You faced challenges that many would give up on," he said, "but you didn't. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Don't let anyone or anything make you doubt yourself." His words carried weight, not because of who he was, but because they were heartfelt and true. They walked outside the cafe, enjoying the warm afternoon sun. The streets were lively, filled with students, vendors, and the everyday rhythm of the city. Amina noticed how he interacted with people around him, kindly, patiently, and respectfully. It was clear that his values extended beyond their conversations, influencing the way he moved through the world. She felt reassured, realizing that his generosity and empathy were genuine, not influenced by wealth or status. As they walked, they stumbled upon a small group of younger students struggling with their project. Without hesitation, he offered to help, and Amina joined in. Together, they guided the students, offering advice and encouragement. Amina felt a sense of fulfillment, seeing how teamwork and simple guidance could make a difference. She realized that this was what true influence looked like, not commanding attention, but lifting others through support and understanding. After helping the students, they found a quiet park nearby. Sitting on a bench under the shade of a large tree, Amina felt a sense of calm, the kind that comes from being with someone who understands and respects you. She reflected on the recent days, the graduation, the borrowed shoes, and the growing bond with this young man. It was clear that their connection was built on more than coincidence. It was founded on mutual respect, honesty, and shared human experiences. He looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "Amina, I hope you understand that my life doesn't define me. My wealth doesn't make me better or worse, and I never want it to influence our relationship. What matters is the person you are, the courage you've shown, and the kindness you carry." His words touched her deeply, affirming her own values and beliefs. She nodded, feeling a profound sense of trust and connection. As the afternoon turned to evening, they walked slowly back toward the campus gates, talking about future plans, aspirations, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Amina felt a mixture of gratitude, admiration, and curiosity. She realized that meeting him had changed her perspective on kindness, resilience, and the unexpected ways people could touch each other's lives. When they reached the gate, Amina paused, feeling the weight of the day and the significance of their conversation. She thanked him once more, not just for the shoes or the assistance, but for the understanding, respect, and encouragement he had shown. He smiled, reassuring her that the feeling was mutual, and that he had learned as much from her as she had from him. Walking home, Amina reflected on the revelation of his true identity. She realized that her feelings of admiration and respect were not diminished by knowing about his background. In fact, his honesty had reinforced her belief in the importance of character over circumstance. She felt inspired, determined to continue pursuing her goals, and confident that genuine kindness and integrity were the qualities that truly mattered. Over the following days, Amina found herself more motivated than ever. She continued her studies, helped her family, and looked for small ways to make a difference in the lives of others. The encounter with the young man had given her a renewed sense of purpose, reminding her that even small acts of kindness could have lasting impacts. She felt empowered to face challenges with courage, guided by the principles of empathy, honesty, and respect. Amina also realized that life was full of unexpected connections. Sometimes the people who enter our lives in small, seemingly ordinary ways leave the most profound impressions. She cherished the lessons she had learned, the conversations they had shared, and the quiet confidence she now carried with her. The borrowed shoes had been a symbol, but the true gift was the friendship, understanding, and human connection that had grown from that simple act of kindness. As the week progressed, Amina felt a growing sense of readiness for the future. She knew that challenges would continue to arise, but she also knew that resilience, determination, and the support of genuine friends could help her navigate whatever came her way. She carried with her the memory of the young man's words, his actions, and the unwavering respect he had shown her, and she vowed to honor those lessons in every step of her journey. Amina woke up early that morning with a sense of anticipation and calm. Graduation had already passed, and the days that followed had been full of reflection, connection, and personal growth. She felt stronger, more confident, and determined to embrace the opportunities ahead. Her journey had been difficult, filled with struggles, but she had learned that resilience, kindness, and a willingness to seize small chances could open doors she never imagined. That morning, she decided to visit the local community center, a place where she could volunteer and give back in small ways. She had always wanted to help others, and now, with the renewed confidence and perspective she had gained, she felt ready. The center was bustling with activity, children playing, volunteers organizing supplies, and families seeking support. Amina smiled, feeling a sense of purpose that filled her heart with warmth. While she was helping a group of younger students with reading exercises, she noticed someone familiar entering the room. It was him, the young man who had lent her the shoes and whose kindness had touched her life. He greeted the volunteers with a warm smile and approached her quietly. "I thought I might find you here," he said, his voice gentle and sincere. Amina's heart lifted, happy to see him again, and she smiled back. They spent the day working side by side, helping children with their homework, organizing supplies, and offering encouragement. The work was simple but meaningful, and Amina felt fulfilled in ways that money or status could never provide. He was patient, kind, and attentive, treating every child and volunteer with respect and care. Watching him in action, Amina realized that his character was consistent, that his kindness was genuine, and that it extended beyond their own interactions. During a quiet break, they sat on a bench outside the center, enjoying the warmth of the sun and the gentle breeze. Amina reflected on the journey that had brought her here, the borrowed shoes, the graduation, the conversations, and the moments of connection that had changed her perspective on life. She felt grateful, not just for his presence, but for the lessons she had learned about resilience, humility, and the power of human kindness. He looked at her and said, "You've grown so much. Amina, I can see it in the way you carry yourself and how you interact with others. It's inspiring to witness." She blushed slightly, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. "I couldn't have done it without the support of my family, friends, and, well, the kindness you showed me," she admitted. He shook his head, smiling. "I only helped because I believed in you. You've always had the strength, even when you didn't see it yourself." They continued to walk through the park near the center, sharing stories, laughter, and reflections. Amina spoke about her hopes for the future, finding a stable job, continuing her education, and contributing positively to her community. He encouraged her to dream boldly, not to limit herself based on circumstances or fear. "You have the power to shape your life," he said. "Your past doesn't define you. Your determination does." As the afternoon turned to evening, they found a quiet spot under a large tree, where the golden light of the setting sun bathed the park in warmth. They sat together, enjoying the peaceful moment. Amina realized that their relationship had grown beyond a simple act of kindness. It had become a friendship built on trust, respect, and shared values. There was no pressure, no expectation, only a deep sense of understanding and connection. He turned to her and said, "Amina, I hope you know that the world is full of opportunities for people like you, people with courage, heart, and determination. Don't ever doubt your ability to succeed." She nodded, feeling the truth of his words resonate within her. "I won't," she replied softly, her voice filled with conviction. In the days that followed, Amina continued to embrace her new sense of purpose. She applied for jobs, attended interviews, and sought opportunities that aligned with her passions and skills. The support and encouragement she had received gave her the confidence to present herself with authenticity and poise. She felt empowered, knowing that she had the ability to influence her own future. Her family noticed the changes in her demeanor, the quiet confidence, the sense of optimism, and the determination that shone in her eyes. Her mother smiled, proud of the young woman her daughter had become. Amina shared stories of her experiences, carefully balancing gratitude for the kindness she had received with her own achievements and efforts. She wanted her family to know that she was capable, resilient, and ready to take on the challenges of the world. Throughout this time, her connection with him continued to grow. They spent moments together, whether helping at the community center, discussing future plans, or simply enjoying each other's company in quiet reflection. Their friendship was based on mutual respect, shared experiences, and a deep understanding of each other's values. Amina cherished these moments, recognizing their impact on her personal growth and sense of confidence. One afternoon, as they walked along a tree-lined street, she realized how much she had changed. She was no longer the hesitant, unsure girl who had borrowed shoes out of necessity. She had grown into a young woman who recognized her own worth, embraced her abilities, and sought to make a positive difference in the world. The challenges she had faced were no longer obstacles, but lessons that had strengthened her resolve and shaped her character. He noticed her thoughtful expression and asked gently, "What's on your mind?" She smiled, feeling the depth of their connection. "I was just thinking about how far I've come," she said, "and how much kindness, support, and belief in me have shaped my journey. I feel ready for whatever comes next." He nodded, a sense of pride and admiration in his eyes. "You've earned this, Amina. Your journey is just beginning, and I know you'll continue to achieve great things." As the weeks turned into months, Amina's life began to take shape. She secured a position that allowed her to support her family while continuing to learn and grow. She remained involved in her community, helping others whenever she could, inspired by the generosity and kindness she had experienced. Her confidence and determination became her guiding forces, shaping her interactions and decisions. Her friendship with him continued to flourish, grounded in trust, respect, and shared values. They celebrated milestones together, offered support during challenges, and encouraged each other to pursue dreams without hesitation. Amina realized that genuine connection and understanding were far more valuable than wealth or status, and she felt fortunate to have experienced both. As she reflected on her journey, Amina understood that life was a series of moments, some small, some significant, that shape who we are and who we become. The borrowed shoes had been a symbol, a starting point, but the true impact had come from the relationships, lessons, and personal growth that followed. She felt grateful for every experience, every challenge, and every act of kindness that had guided her toward this moment. One evening, as she walked home from work, she thought about the future. She knew there would be obstacles, uncertainties, and difficult choices ahead, but she also knew she had the strength, courage, and support to face them. She smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace and readiness. Life had shown her that even in the most unexpected ways, people could make a difference, opportunities could arise, and connections could shape the course of a lifetime. Amina paused for a moment, looking down at her feet, remembering the shoes that had started it all. They were gone now, returned long ago, but the lessons they represented remained. She had learned about resilience, kindness, and the importance of believing in herself. She had discovered the value of genuine human connection, and she had found a friend who had shown her the power of empathy and understanding. With a heart full of gratitude and hope, Amina continued her walk, ready to embrace the next chapter of her life. She knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, joys, and unexpected moments, but she felt equipped to face them all. She had grown, learned, and experienced the beauty of human kindness, and she carried that knowledge with her in every step she took. The future was hers to shape, and she felt confident, courageous, and prepared to make the most of it. Amina woke up early with a feeling of anticipation. Life had changed in many ways over the past months. She had graduated, discovered her own strength, and learned the value of kindness and human connection. But she felt that there was more to learn, more to explore, and more to achieve. Today, she was determined to take another step forward, one that would shape her future in ways she couldn't yet imagine. She started her day with her usual routine, helping her younger siblings get ready, preparing breakfast, and offering words of encouragement. Her mother watched her, noticing the quiet confidence that Amina now carried in every action. She had grown in ways that went beyond academic achievement. She had grown into a young woman capable of facing challenges and finding joy in the journey. After breakfast, Amina decided to visit the community center once more. The place had become a small sanctuary for her, a place where she could give back, meet people, and continue to build her sense of purpose. The center was buzzing with activity, children laughing, volunteers organizing projects, and families receiving support. Amina felt a deep sense of belonging as she joined in, helping children with reading, writing, and basic skills. As she was guiding a group of students through a math exercise, she noticed someone familiar approaching. It was him, the young man who had lent her the shoes months ago and whose presence had impacted her life in profound ways. He greeted her warmly, and Amina felt a surge of happiness. He had become more than just a stranger who had helped her. He was now a friend, a mentor, and someone who reminded her of the power of genuine kindness. They spent the day together at the center, assisting children, organizing activities, and offering encouragement. Amina noticed how patient and attentive he was, not just with her, but with everyone around him. His presence brought a sense of calm and positivity that made the environment even more welcoming. Watching him interact with others, Amina realized that true leadership and influence were not about authority or wealth, but about empathy, respect, and the ability to inspire others. During a quiet moment, they sat on a bench outside the center, enjoying the warmth of the afternoon sun. Amina reflected on her journey, the struggles she had faced, the moments of doubt, the kindness she had received, and the growth she had experienced. She realized that her path had been shaped not only by her own efforts, but also by the generosity and encouragement of others. She felt gratitude not just for him, but for everyone who had supported her in different ways. He turned to her and said, "Amina, you've grown so much. It's amazing to see how you've taken control of your life and are making a difference in your community." She smiled, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "I couldn't have done it without learning from people like you," she replied. "Your kindness reminded me that small actions can have a big impact." They continued walking, talking about their hopes, dreams, and plans for the future. Amina shared her aspirations, continuing her education, finding a stable job, and helping her family thrive. He encouraged her to think even bigger, to pursue her passions without hesitation, and to embrace opportunities with courage. His words were not just motivational, they were grounded in genuine understanding and insight, making Amina feel supported and empowered. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park near the center, Amina realized how far she had come. She had moved from uncertainty and struggle to confidence and purpose. The borrowed shoes had been a small act, but the lessons and connections they represented had guided her toward a brighter future. She felt ready to take on challenges, knowing that resilience, empathy, and determination were her strongest allies. Over the following weeks, Amina continued to grow and explore opportunities. She applied for jobs, attended workshops, and sought ways to further develop her skills. She maintained her involvement in the community, finding joy in helping others and seeing the positive impact of her efforts. Each day brought new lessons, new experiences, and new moments of reflection. Her friendship with him deepened, built on trust, mutual respect, and shared experiences. They spent time discussing personal growth, goals, and life lessons. Amina realized that the connection she shared with him was not based on his wealth or status, but on genuine human qualities, kindness, empathy, and integrity. Their friendship became a source of inspiration, motivation, and comfort, reminding her of the importance of meaningful relationships. One afternoon, they visited a local school together to participate in a mentorship program. Amina guided students, helping them with reading and writing, while he offered advice on pursuing dreams and building character. The students responded with enthusiasm, inspired by their presence and guidance. Amina felt a deep sense of fulfillment, realizing that her journey of growth and learning had come full circle. She was now in a position to inspire and support others. As they walked back from the school, she reflected on the impact of small gestures and moments of connection. The borrowed shoes had been a catalyst, but the true transformation had come from the ongoing kindness, guidance, and encouragement she had experienced. She understood that life was not just about personal success, but about contributing to the lives of others and building relationships based on trust and respect. He noticed her thoughtful expression and asked gently, "What's on your mind, Amina?" She smiled, feeling a deep sense of clarity. "I'm thinking about how much I've grown, how much I've learned, and how much I want to give back. Life has shown me that small acts can lead to big changes, and I want to continue that journey." He nodded, clearly moved by her words. You have the heart, the mind, and the courage to make that happen. I'm proud of you. In the days that followed, Amina's life continued to evolve. She secured a position that allowed her to support her family while pursuing her dreams. She remained involved in volunteer work, helping children, mentoring peers, and contributing to her community. Each experience reinforced the lessons she had learned about resilience, empathy, and the importance of human connection. Her friendship with him remained strong, a steady presence in her life that offered support, guidance, and inspiration. They celebrated successes, shared challenges, and encouraged each other to pursue goals with determination. Amina realized that genuine friendship and mentorship were invaluable, and she felt grateful for the trust and connection they had built. As she reflected on her journey, she understood that life was a series of interconnected moments, some small, some significant, that shape who we are and who we become. The borrowed shoes had started a chain of events that led to personal growth, meaningful connections, and a deeper understanding of herself and the world. She felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in her abilities and guided by the lessons she had learned. One evening, as she walked home from work, Amina paused to look at the city around her. She thought about her family, her community, and the people who had influenced her journey. She felt a profound sense of gratitude and hope. Life was full of opportunities, kindness, and unexpected connections, and she was ready to embrace them all. With a heart full of determination, empathy, and courage, she continued her walk, ready to shape her future and make a positive impact on the world.